Chapter 13. Battle Monarch Puppet. The moonlight is as clear as water, sprinkling over this quiet and endless forest. Occasionally, a beast's roar could be heard from the depths of the forest, causing the quiet forest to become even more sinister and terrifying. Xiao Yan sat cross-legged in a cave. Just as he was resting with his eyes closed, suddenly, the moonlight in the sky seemed to be enveloped by dark clouds, and there was no clear glow. The entire forest was covered by a huge black shadow. Xiao Yan's expression changed, and he opened his eyes. He walked out of the cave and looked at the sky. He saw a huge black bird covering the sky. The shadow that fell on the ground made the forest extremely dark. Xiao Yan held his breath and looked at the huge body of the black bird. The wings of the black bird were hundreds of thousands of meters long, and the black feathers were as bright as fine iron. It was as if it was filled with endless power. After half an hour, the black giant bird finally flew over the forest. Xiao Yan's eyes revealed a look of deep shock. Before he could recover, suddenly, hearing the loud cry of the giant bird, Xiao Yan felt as if his head had cracked. He felt as if he was going to explode, but then he let out a soft shout. This caused Xiao Yan's pain to lessen by quite a bit. After that, Xiao Yan heard an old voice coming from the distant sky. Azure ancient profound bird, our barbarian domain has no ill intentions here. We are only here to test the strength of the younger generation of our family. As he spoke, a 10,000 feet long ship appeared. It was a bronze warship that was emitting an ancient aura. A strange flame appeared in Xiao Yan's eyes as he looked at the bronze warship in the distant sky. There seemed to be a layer of light on the warship that blocked Xiao Yan's vision. Barbarian domain. Are you from the prince's mansion in the barbarian domain? After a while, I am Mankunin of the northern barbarian king's mansion. The old voice hesitated for a moment and replied immediately. Northern barbarian king's mansion. The giant black bird pondered for a moment. Then, without saying anything, it raised its head and let out a long cry. Then, it spread its wings and flapped them a few times. Then, it disappeared. The bronze warship, Old Tien, seemed to have exhaled a breath of air. After which, the bronze warship trembled. He once again lost his figure. After the bronze warship disappeared for a long time, Xiao Yan finally came back to his senses. He let out a long breath, and the shock in his eyes gradually dissipated. He mumbled, "This is a true powerhouse. Flame dragon charge." A furious roar was heard, and then a fire dragon about 60 to 70 feet long flew out from Xiao Yan's hand. It hit the huge body of the strong grizzly bear hard. The grizzly bear roared a few times. Its eyes gradually lost their luster, and it fell down unwillingly. Xiao Yan stepped forward. He felt the somewhat dried-up origin monarch ki in his body, and couldn't help but sigh. Although this big guy's strength is at the late 6-star level. But it shouldn't be hard to defeat him, or the skill level is too low. Xiao Yan conveniently threw a chi recovery pill into his mouth. He sped up the recovery of the origin monarch chi. The burning spell had become an intermediate sovereign rank cultivation technique, which was something worth celebrating. However, it was only an intermediate sovereign rank cultivation technique. To Xiao Yan, who had seen the huge black bird and the majestic aura of the old man on the bronze warship last night, this was something worth celebrating. The help of an intermediate sovereign realm cultivation technique to increase one's strength was too weak. He really didn't dare to squander as much as he wanted. In a war, he could only use the fastest time to finish off the enemy. Otherwise, it would be his turn to be unlucky. And this was also what Xiao Yan was most helpless about right now. After recovering all the origin monarch chi, he felt the slightly solidified origin monarch chi. Xiao Yan smiled slightly. At this speed, he estimated that he would be able to break through to middle stage 6-star in another 10 days. Fighting was indeed the best way to quickly increase one's strength. Collecting the earth-shattering bear's monster core, Xiao Yan turned around and ran towards the other side of the forest. Even though the heavenly phoenix wings could still allow him to fly several dozen meters above the ground, however, Xiao Yan also tried his best not to use the heavenly phoenix wings. This was also Xiao Yan's idea. Running was also a type of cultivation method. When he had just crossed a hill, Xiao Yan's expression changed, and then he quickly let out a bitter laugh. Below the hill, at this moment, there was a man fighting with the devil beast. Xiao Yan's eyes swept across this strong man with a gloomy face. He shook his head slightly and said to himself, isn't this guy courting death? However, he was only a one-star combat emperor. He must have cultivated by himself just like me. Unfortunately, he had just arrived at the forest domain, and he had already encountered a peak 4-star devil beast. This is really unlucky. Xiao Yan just looked at it and did not have any intention of saving him. Now, he could not even take care of himself. Besides, saving a 1-star combat emperor would only bring him trouble. Xiao Yan tried his best not to do it. If nothing unexpected happened, that 1-star combat emperor would do his best. In the midst of his furious roars, he was easily killed by that devil beast with a strength close to 5 stars. When Xiao Yan saw this, he immediately rushed forward. It wasn't to avenge that person, but to obtain that 5-star devil beast's monster core. Just as he was about to clean up the fighting monarch that he had killed, the devil beast saw that another human had arrived. A trace of joy flashed across its eyes, and it howled as it rushed towards Xiao Yan. Move aside. Xiao Yan waved his hand. A 60 to 70 meter long fire dragon roared out and struck the devil beast's massive body. It knocked the devil beast back by more than 10 meters. Roar. The devil beast let out a furious howl. Its eyes were blood red as it once again crazily charged forward. It's just a tiny 5-star fighting monarch devil beast. Could it be the opposite? Xiao Yan once again used the flame dragon charge, and at this moment, he took out the profound heavy ruler. He ruthlessly slapped down on the devil beast's head. In the next moment, a sound like the shattering of a watermelon was heard. The devil beast's head instantly shattered into pieces. Xiao Yan let out a cold snort, and his left hand was wrapped by the purifying demonic lotus flame. He directly grabbed the devil beast's chest and grabbed it for a moment. A pale yellow monster core was taken out. Xiao Yan faintly smiled. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly saw an extremely illusory soul float out from the devil beast's head. It was about to escape. Xiao Yan grabbed it with a reflex. The soul screamed and struggled with all its might. He struggled to break free from the purifying demonic lotus flame and let out a miserable cry. Isn't there only a soul in the lower realms that has already transformed into a human devil beast after advancing into the fighting monarch? Why does the devil beast in this great world even have a soul? Xiao Yan stared blankly at the dying soul in the raging flames. He said in astonishment, the only explanation is that this fellow had once devoured the other fighting monarchs in the lower realm. He had coincidentally fused with his soul. Xiao Yan said as if he was deep in thought. But, fighting monarch body, monster core. The monarch spirit soul can be used to refine a fighting monarch puppet. Xiao Yan smiled faintly. He placed the dead fighting monarch body into the storage ring, then placed the dying soul into a white jade bottle. He sealed the bottle with a thread of origin monarch chi and smiled. Then, he rushed out of the forest. Chapter end.